sometimes life can imitate art. And it seems like what happened with your beloved Mets and Mr. Met could be ripped straight from a Brockmire episode, don't you think?
Where he had a Brockmire-like meltdown, didn't he?
Yeah, Mr. Met had a Brockmire-like meltdown when he flipped the bird with the middle of his forefingers. It was kind of strange.
Yeah, it's amazing how I guess the guy's had a lot of practice and he can make a middle finger out of four fingers somehow, but he did it. And yeah, got fired. I guess that guy got fired.
What'd you make? Because we're showing it on the screen right here. He used one hand to put
but he still seems delightedly thrilled, doesn't he? It's like, hey, F you, my friend. I love you and screw you all at once.
But in order to put the other three fingers down to create said middle finger, he needed to kind of do the Bafangul sort of, move that we did back in grade school, with the hands.
Have you seen Jim Brockmire interviewing Mr. Met? Is that something you've seen?
I don't believe I've seen that.
Are we live? Can we pull that up?
We could pull somewhat of that up, but
let's. But it's all you can actually family friendly. That Mr. Met interview.
Is that right?
Brockmire interviews Mr. Met, and I think it was that exchange that might have led Mr. Met to his downfall. Either that or Lenny Dykstra. One of the two of us had a bad influence on Mr. Met.
And so how did that interview come about? How did Brockmire land that exclusive with Mr. Met, Hank? How did that happen?
About a year ago, Jim Brockmire, the Mets asked me to do some content like what I interview players, and I said, well, can Jim Brockmire do it? And they said, all right.
Right.
And then it ended up having to be between Verizon sponsoring it and the Mets worrying about. We kind of learned that if you pull the reins on Jim Brockmire too hard, it's not all that funny. but it still was kind of fun.
Okay.
But the interview with Mr. Met, because it was so and I ended up talking to Neil Walker and Jerry Familia and Wilmer Flores and DeGrom and Steven Matz, and that was all okay. But the interview with Mr. Met was delightfully moronic. And was really fun.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that, download our app. Please, just if it's a memory thing, just delete other apps. You don't need those apps. This app, the Rich Eisen Show app, you need that.